Have you lost weight only to gain it right back after returning to your routine? Did your diet work for someone else but not you? Rockin' That ID Life helps you understand your genetic makeup to find a lifestyle that fits your needs. Together, you and RockinThatIDLife.com can focus on your health and meet your goals today. That's RockinThatIDLife.com.
Center Ice Brewery is a proud sponsor of Let's Go Blues Radio. Visit centericebrewery.com today to schedule a no-contact curbside pickup or make a reservation in their awesome tap room. That's Center Ice Brewery, located in Midtown St. Louis. Let's go Blues! Welcome to Season 10, Episode 3 of Let's Go Blues Radio. We're the often imitated but never duplicated, fully vaccinated, excommunicated, circumventilated, decontaminated, unrefrigerated, the original St. Louis Blues Hockey Podcast. Special thanks to RockinThatIDLife.com and CenterIceBrewery.com for proudly sponsoring the show. Two great sponsors. Popped into my head. Two great sponsors that taste great together. That needs to be a thing. A little joint sponsorship there. Please check them out.
Take your hydrate with you. Your ID Life hydrate with you.
You know what?
Drink a few extra.
That is a great idea. You take the hydrate, right? Like you said, from ID Life, RockinThatIDLife.com, and then you take it with you for a night at Center Ice. Every couple beers, have some hydrate in between, and you are good to go, feeling good the next morning, I'm sure.
Better than you otherwise would. That's
sure,
for sure.
Absolutely. I'm not sure if I'm sure Dustin endorses that kind of a use of his product, but I don't know. Maybe he can chime in and we'll find out. We're broadcasting live on Wednesday, September 29th, 2021. This is franchise episode number 321 all time. To interact with the show, we are all over social media, and we have our own Discord server. So you can go to letsgoblues.com for all those links and information, plus links to past episodes of the show. We are dual live streaming right now on YouTube and Facebook. If you haven't smashed the bell and subscribed, please do so. It warms our cockles. Your hosts tonight are yours truly, Kurt Price and Bill Day. Jeff Ponder is on assignment. And for your listening pleasure, for the next little while, we'll be talking some St. Louis Blues hockey. The Blue Note 5K was last weekend, and as is tonight, Jeff Ponder was MIA for that too. So Bill and I were there though, and we had a good time. Did you enjoy your run, Bill?
The running part, no, I didn't enjoy that, but I enjoyed the festivities. I enjoyed being down there. I was kind of surprised at how sparsely populated it was, or how sparse participation was, but it was good. That made for a good start. Didn't have to zigzag around a whole bunch of strollers and that kind of thing. But yeah, it was good, and I can say that I am this year's Let's Go Blues Radio first place.
Right, first place, yeah, champion. Yeah, I ran with my daughter, and she, and there's the medal that was given out. Those are the best ones out of the ones they've handed out. I mean, you could put the Stanley Cup one up there just for the fact that the cup was on it, which makes it awesome. But as far as designs and colors go, this one's cool. This one's really cool. Yeah, and Bill's showing up to the screen. Sorry for you podcast listeners can't see that, but it's the Bernie Federico autograph. Federico was there after the race signing autographs, and he signed everyone. He stayed there till the end, and Federico, as awesome as he is, was very, very cordial. And we got to the table to get our medal ribbons signed. I told him that my most favorite moment in my life, I believe, was at Kirkwood Station when we were all there for his book signing, and afterwards he hung out with us, and we at our table. There was just like 5 of us at the table, and he told us the difference between. We had long discussions, maybe 45 minutes or so, and one of the most memorable stories was him explaining the difference between taking a shit and having a shit, and what the difference between Americans and how Canadians refer to taking a number 2. So quite funny and quite hilarious. So coming out of Federico's mouth, something you don't expect out of him, because he seems like such a polite guy, right?
Yep. Well,
So,
and he is. I mean, he's who else would get up on a Sunday morning and instead of going to play golf, goes and sits and signs autograph for a bunch of fans? It's pretty awesome.
yeah, for nothing, for free. He may have.
No, it wasn't for free.
Oh,
it was for like half bushel bananas.
Right. Yeah, because after people were clearing out, they were just emptying all the bags of ice that were left over for the keeping the beer cold and everything. They're just dumping it on the parking lot, and they had these boxes and boxes of bunches of donuts, bananas.
That would have been better.
The opposite of a banana is probably a donut. There's a joke with a banana and a donut together that you could make. But yeah, they were just giving away. I mean, I don't know. They were giving away like a hot dog and a donut. Sorry, it's not a banana and a donut, but same thing. Yeah, they're just giving away these bunches of bananas, and Federico walks over there and just takes them a couple of bunches of bananas. I'm like, I don't know why I thought that was funny. Hall of Famer walking over getting free bananas. That's just comical to me. That's just kind of funny.
Yeah.
Nothing is below free. Everyone likes a free banana, right?
Apparently.
Even hockey Hall of Famers. But no, Federico was great. Really, I mean, he got a group picture and everything. Fantastic guy. I love Federico. And I think anyone out there who has met Federico, and he makes himself available all the time. So, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have met him, talked to him, and I'm sure they have similar experiences with him. Our co-host, Jeff Ponder, who is not here tonight, wrote a nice article on letsgoblues.com about his experience taking his special needs son to his first Blues game the other night, and how the Blues were awesome in helping make his night extra special. So give that a read if you have some time. It's at letsgoblues.com, and Jeff Ponder himself did write it, since he does that for a living every once in a while, writes things. So Brandy Capone, the winner of our contest last week, where she won pregame party tickets to tonight's Cardinals game, plus tickets to the official pregame party itself, all courtesy of the Cardinals Nation pregame, is currently, well, I guess the game's over now. The Cardinals winning streak ended at 17 games, and she was there to see it. So we're happy to send Brandy to go see the end of the winning streak. I think the Cardinals had like 3 hits, scored no runs. So I hope the pregame party was much better than the game. I'm sure it was.
Yeah, and we'll blame her attendance at the game on the Cards losing, rather than me putting on my one and only, one of my 2 Cardinals t-shirts that I own for the first time during the streak.
Yep. And Bill's
I decided to join the bandwagon.
Okay. And see what happens. One too many.
Right.
One too many.
Went off the rails.
The wheels broke. One too many on the bandwagon. Yeah, and I broke out my my Cardinals beer bottle koozie, and yeah, it's not. I mean, you can celebrate the streak, right? 17 was fantastic, amazing. Something I've done in 80 some odd years.
Club record.
Yeah, so. Ponder said, he was messaging us about he's pissed off about something. He's always pissed about something. Our official beers of episode number 321. You can follow us, each of us, on the Untapped app. I am at cprice12. Jeff Ponder is jponder94, and Bill is Billy Blue Note 33. Bill, what is? I was trying to say something funny about wetting your lips, but I did not have it ready to go in time. So, just what is quenching your thirst this evening?
What is quenching my thirst this evening is what quenched your thirst last week. I am going with the vanilla cinnamon cocoa KBS variant.
What do you think?
That it is good, but I really think it needs a little bit more bottle conditioning or something. Not everything's coming out for me. But the one I had the other night, so much cocoa, not as much as the maple Mackinac, but it's still a lot. It's good, but think it needs a little more age on it.
Okay, well, maybe I'll because I've got a few in my fridge yet. So maybe I'll have another one here in October sometime, and maybe wait a few months. Maybe I'll have one in January or something. I don't know. I liked it last week. I thought it was good, but I can see what you say about not everything coming through. I get that, but I still liked it a lot. Today in Blues history, courtesy of the. Oh, I'm sorry, my beer. My beer is kind of forgettable. It's not anything special tonight. It's just my Bud Light Orange. I want something lighter this evening. Me and my Bud Light Orange. I'm gonna write like a kid's book. Me and my Bud Light Orange.
I don't think you would keep your job, as a soccer coach very long, writing kids books about Bud Light Orange.
Well, there's a market for everything out there. I'm sure if you it's an adult kids book. Yeah, we'll say that. Official beers. No, man, I am all over the place tonight. Today in Blues, we just did that. Holy shit. Today in Blues history, courtesy of the at STL Blues History Twitter account, September 29th, 1997. St. Louis Blues named Chris Pronger team captain. Pronger became the youngest player to be named captain in the St. Louis Blues franchise history. I thought it was interesting that it was Brett Hull. Let's see. McInnes said he'll be captain here for 10 and 12 years, who, along with Brett Hull, will remain an alternate captain. McInnes said he's a young guy, but he's mature enough to handle it. His play the last couple of years has the respect of everyone in the dressing room. It's a great choice by the organization. So I think, and ended up being, I think, the case. He's spot on with that. But I think for a short time there, a lot of fans weren't on board with that. Pronger had his haters. He absolutely has haters for his lack of discipline earlier in his career. That just kind of stuck with him, even though he shook that after a couple of years here. People still thought he played that way, and as soon as Pronger takes a penalty, he's the guy that takes the bad penalty. Pronger was your stereotypical Blues player. He was a mean mother on the ice, and he was good.
Yeah, and I think it took a long time for a lot of people to get over the Shanahan trade too, right? That's the other part to that. Yeah, sure. But yeah, I remember going to games, in 96, 97, 97, 98, where people are still, throwing hit them with your purse Pronger.
Yeah.
Come on, Chrissy, let's go.
Which didn't make sense to me ever. It's like, no. You're kind of, Pronger was he was a dick on the ice, but he was, he was borderline dirty, a lot of times, but he was effective. And I was always surprised at the number of folks that gave him shit for his play. If he made a mistake, it was always like they just wouldn't shut up about it. So that was interesting to me. But arguably the best player this franchise has ever had. He's right there with Hull. You could put Hull above him, whatever, but he's up there.
Right. So, only player in franchise history to win Hart and Norris, right?
In the same season. Well, yeah.
In the same season, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. You can't argue with it.
And that year that Blake won it, the Norris, I thought Pronger should have won it that year. He really should have a couple Norris trophies here.
Right. That was the year that, that was the time frame where they're trying to spread the love around,
Well,
and then it became the Nick Lidstrom trophy.
Yes. And Blake had a very good offensive season that year too. So
right.
That's and half the time the Norris is an offensive trophy. So it's the best offensive defenseman. There really needs to be a separate trophy for best offensive defenseman and then best overall defenseman, which is or even best defensive defenseman. Don't have a Norris, have best offensive and best defensive. I don't know. That's an idea. I don't know.
Right. More trophies, more chances to sell sponsorships to,
True.
Discover and Bridgestone and Honda and
Right.
all of the sponsors of the divisions from last year.
And more trophies to be won by players to then say, hey, I won this trophy. I want more money next contract.
Yeah. So just on the subject of Norris trophies, pop quiz, do you recall who won last year's Norris trophy?
Fox?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adam Fox.
Yeah.
Yeah. That still shocks me.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Second year
not
player?
A household name whatsoever. Yeah.
Second year player. Yeah, that was shocking. Because that's not the case usually. Usually it's like you have to establish yourself as a Norris Trophy caliber guy before you're even considered for it. You know,
right.
Usually you're nominated after you've played well enough to win it. I mean,
right.
like a season after that. So,
right. 2 years ago, if you would have told me it would have been a young defenseman in the NHL, second or third season to win that, I would have said Miro Heiskanen in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Fox, he was good. I went to when the Rangers were in town the last year before we couldn't go to hockey anymore. I saw him play and he was decent, but I don't know. I did not watch much of the Rangers division last year. That just didn't happen.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people, correct me if I'm wrong, but thought Makar was going to win it last season.
Oh yeah,
right? I mean, that was kind of like he was the sexy choice, right?
League darling.
Yeah, I mean, rightfully so. I mean, the guy's fantastic. September 29th, 1977. I was 3 years old. The St. Louis Arena, which I think is funny because the St. Louis Arena, home of the St. Louis Blues, should go without saying, was purchased and renamed the Checker Dome by Ralston Purina. The team, I have this cut off, but $8.8 million was the package. It was sold to Ralston to basically keep the team here. They bought the team and the St. Louis Arena in a package deal. Ralston Purina assured their stockholders this. I mean, you could write a book just on the 6 years there where Ralston bought the team to keep the team here, and then they lost money with the team, and then them trying to sell the team, and then to Saskatoon. You could write a book on that whole fiasco right there. We talk about this Hall of Fame that the Blues need to start for players and stories and things the Blues have. You could dedicate a whole wing, a whole room to this story. Ralston Purina assured their stockholders at the time that they wouldn't lose money. They said that they might not make money, but they won't lose money. They were just they thought they'll probably break even on the deal. Interesting part of the article that was shared by STL Blues History. I quote, a St. Louis financial expert said that, and this is in quotes, the hockey operations themselves, I don't think will ever be a huge money maker. The key to the arena's success is getting non-hockey events in there. So I mean, that's interesting now. I mean, because look at it now. You sports franchises are a huge moneymaker. I don't care what the owners say. But and you fast forward 6 years then, and Ralston Purina couldn't get away from the Blues fast enough. They reported losses of $19 million over the 6 year span, which is a lot of money back then. Nowadays, you might over 6 years, $19 million. That's not a lot for a team to lose. They're worth, some teams are worth $1 billion, but not back then. Considering the Blues and the Arena were a package deal 6 years prior, $8.8 million. So they tried to sell the team to Saskatoon, which the NHL blocked, and then Purina locked the doors of the arena and abandoned the team and sued the NHL for $60 million. The league took over the team and sold it to Harry Ornest for $12 million. That money was then passed on to Ralston Purina in the settlement, and that's all they received out of their $60 million suit. A lot of people don't know that the NHL countersued Ralston Purina for damages for having to take over the Blues because Ralston tried to sell the team to investors who lacked the financial backing to operate an NHL franchise and were only concerned about making a profit. The NHL claimed Ralston Purina turned down local offers to buy the team and falsified information in an effort to make the Saskatchewan deal more palatable to the league. So if that's true, Ralston was just in it for the money. Later, Ornest acknowledged the Blues have continued to lose money, but says the team is now near the break-even point. It should be noted that Ornest sold the team to Mike Shanahan in 1986, so he only owned the team for a few years, for $19 million, and the arena to the city for $15 million. So he sold the package $34 million, which only cost him $12 million just a few years before. So Ornest made out like a bandit. Save the team.
Right, he did.
Kept the team here. Yeah, I love him for that. But holy hell, did he make a lot of money on the team in a short amount of time?
Right. And then throw in the context of the stories that we heard that the Blues didn't have enough money to pay for the flight. And after they got eliminated by Calgary, people were putting on their personal credit cards to get home.
I think Bruce Affleck called Harry Ernest a carpetbagger.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he was not a well-liked owner. A far cry from the original owners of the Blues, which were well-liked. So we got some show topics tonight. We got a preseason game 3 versus Columbus tonight. Not much to talk about. Blues lost 5-2 tonight. Columbus added an empty netter to make that 5-2. Logan Brown had a shot in the shootout at the end. They did a shootout at the end of the game just for shits and giggles, and he missed on a little flip backhand attempt. Kyrou had the only goal in the shootout, and Thomas also missed for the Blues. So the Blues did win the shootout 1-0. Lindgren played in the second half of the game, stopped 13-14 for the Blues, and stopped all 3 shooters in the shootout. Hofer didn't look particularly good. Played half the game. I think I didn't have his numbers here. Stopped made 10 out of 13 or 12 out of 15 saves, something like that. Not too good. I watched it a little bit in the second period. Saw a couple goals he allowed. One was on kind of a partial screen. He didn't pick it up. And the other one was on a play in front where the shot was kind of stopped, and the guy stopped, went backhand and beat him through the legs, got him over the 5-hole. So, didn't look great. Scandella looked bad on the series where Columbus was buzzing and hit the post. He was caught standing in the low slot. Puck was moved around him, looked lost. I was like, oh my God, who is that? And it turns around, I was like, oh, Scandella. And Hugh McGing got the Blues on the that's a fun name to say. Hugh McGing.
It is.
It's like one word.
Right.
Hugh McGing.
Right.
Got the Blues on board by going to the goal and putting home a rebound in tight, which made it, I think, was 4-1, I think, or 3-1 at the time. So, not a good showing by the Blues.
Yeah, and it's preseason. A roadie in Columbus. Who's going to get excited for that, right?
Yeah.
I haven't even pulled up the box score. I'm so excited about this game.
Yeah. It is what it is. It's preseason. You see guys that you're on the ice, you're like, who is that? Half the team is that way. So, but it is fun to see hockey, and it is fun to see some prospects get a look at and see how they do. Other news, Zach Sanford was finally traded. So that was this, and I was almost upset that this didn't. Usually, Blues news tends to break like the day before or the day of. Even we do a show, and this is the kind of move that used to just break like at 2 p.m. the day we're going to do a show, and we could it's fresh. It just happened. We can talk about it tonight. It's great, and this happened over the weekend. I was like, shit.
Yep.
So Zach Sanford was finally traded to the Senators for Logan Brown and a conditional 4th-round pick. Brown is the son of former Blues defensive great Jeff Brown and was drafted by Ottawa in the 2016 entry draft, 11th overall in that draft. Brown had 1 goal, 8 assists, and was a -2 in 30 career games with the Senators. I think that spanned 4 seasons. And I think 23 of those games came in 1 season with the Senators a couple years ago. So he just never really got going in the system. People in the know called him lazy. So, maybe a new team that doesn't suck year in and year out will inspire Brown to develop into an NHL player because he was, 11th overall. You've got some skills. You're not drafted that spot for no reason. So we'll see with him.
Right, and he was part of the the St. Louis 7. That was the year that all the kids got drafted in the first round.
Yeah.
And that's going 11th overall. That's high, right? And wasn't one of the guys that people are clamoring like the Kachuk brothers to get here in St. Louis. There's been there's a rumor over the summer about possibly bringing in Trent Frederick from Boston. I think that I forget it was Sanford or somebody who was rumored to be traded for, but that didn't happen. But
right.
Now Logan Brown's here, and I think it's most of us are pretty excited that Sanford is gone. I mean, hey, he had his moment, right? That the nail in the coffin goal against Boston and Stanley Cup Final Game 7. Being able to score that goal back on his home turf. That was a great moment, and a great bookend story to the Bortuzzo fight, and how far the team came, right? So it was his time and place, hockey players don't stay in one place forever these days, and he's moved along and cleared up that exact $2 million that you talked about last week that we needed to get rid of.
Yeah, that's funny how that worked out, right? Isn't it? We were $2 million over the cap after signing Thomas, and who on the roster makes $2 million? Oh, look at that, Sanford, a guy that we've been wanting to see gone for a while now, and has been in the fans' doghouse for quite some time. But seems to get a lot of playing time, seemingly up a line more than he should be playing half the time. So I'm ecstatic he's gone, so he can't be played on the second line anymore, or fill in on the first. I think the fourth round pick, the conditional fourth round pick, the Blues will get only if Logan Brown plays plays 30 games or more with the Blues this season. So I think barring a number of injuries that causes us to go deep into the system depth, or if Logan Brown really impresses in camp, I can't see him playing 30 games with us this season. There's just not room for him. I don't think. I don't know. I mean, I'd love to see more of him. I've seen him play part of one game so far, but I guess I'm happy to have him. I would have been very happy with just getting the fourth round pick for Zach Sanford. I think I said the exact same thing a week or two ago. I said I honestly would be very happy just getting rid of Zach Sanford, freeing up that $2 million cap space, and I'd be happy with a fourth round pick. I don't want anything special for him because I don't think he's worth that much. And I think getting the conditional fourth, plus a prospect, at one time a highly touted prospect, coming back to his hometown, a team that he's obviously excited to play for. He was interviewed after the preseason game tonight, and he said that he was, when he was told the news, he was smiling from ear to ear, and couldn't wait to get here. So, where you play can make a difference. So we'll see if that makes a difference to him at all. I think you read a lot of the Senators fans and analysts, and they called him lazy, and he'll never play a game for St. Louis and stuff like that. And that may be the case, but it's just like it's like gravy for me for this trade. The fourth round pick is fine, and Logan Brown too. Great. Oh, okay, that's fine. I'll take a prospect that may develop into something, get some ice time. Sure, why not?
Right. I mean, the Blues prospect cupboards have been a little bit barren, so why not bring somebody in that the city can at least be a little bit excited for? We'll see. Like I said, it's going to be tough for him to crack a bunch of games at this level, but injuries happen, and the team is going to be against the cap, so it would make sense for him to get call up or two.
Yeah, I mean, and Sundqvist is out for a little bit here to start the season, so there is a spot. Costin wants it. I'm sure. We got a couple of Neils here. So yeah, I mean, we got a couple guys who want that spot. So it's going to take a really good showing from Logan to even be considered for it, to be honest. And I honestly, even if he plays well in camp, I don't see him making the roster out of camp first. I just don't. I think that spot would go to a more veteran player, and I think they'd give Logan get more of a look for Logan at the AHL level and see what he can do. With our eyes on him. So we'll see how that goes.
You mentioned James Neal.
Yep.
I have not caught much of or anything, to be honest, with the preseason. What numbers are you wearing?
Oh, God, that's a good question. I don't know.
This is why Ponder needs to be here.
Yeah, he might know that. Let's see. Neal.
He was at the game.
He's number 34. No, I'm sorry. That's how old he is. He's it's not listed here. Does it have on 18? Nope. It's probably
can't be 18.
No, it can't be 18.
That's
no,
Thomas.
it's Thomas. I saw the blue and yellow. I was on a hockey reference. I saw the blue and yellow. I just said 18, but no, that's
Edmonton. That was his Nashville days.
The Edmonton. That's got blue and yellow. Well, I guess it's orange, blue and orange. Looks like yellow, dark yellow. They don't have it on here, so I didn't get his number the other day. I didn't see him. I didn't catch him tonight. I only caught part of the game tonight. But he did score 3 the other night, so there's that. Nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a guy. I mean, if he plays well, I can see him making the team. I really can. Over Costin.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe what Logan Brown needs is some of that ID life. Maybe some hydrate before some games, you think? Or, I don't know. Maybe some sleep. That would be a good night before a game. I don't know.
Maybe some energy.
Maybe some energy before a game. Right.
I think that's what Zach Sanford needed, though. But I don't know.
So on that note,
it's safe to say that the Burn Box from RockinThatIDLife.com provides you with the sugar bustinest, muscle buildingest, mood enhancingest, focus inducingest, energy boostingest, hootinest, tootinest, shootinest experience. You not only get the excellent product, but you get recipes, menu options, a tracker, and program guide to assist you along your self-betterment journey. Based on your goals, you can double up on Slim Plus or Energy, or you can get one of each. With flavors such as mixed berry, tropical fruit, and orange, the Burn Box lets you enjoy the weight loss or muscle gain journey along the way. Become a VIP with RockinThatIDLife.com and place your Burn Box on subscription and you'll save 20%. And as always, text
the roughest, toughest He-Man, stuffest hombre has ever crossed the Rio Grande
and our friend Dustin at 636-393-8745 and tell him Let's Go Blues Radio sent you to receive an additional 10% off your order.
Now all of you skunks, clear out of here!
And go over to RockinThatIDLife.com.
We can address some messages in the YouTube chat before we get started with the Doug Armstrong talk. Let's see. Mike Leon says, "Have either of you guys been in the media?" No, Bill and I have not. But I'm sure if Jeff were here, he'd tell you all about it.
Right.
I was a guest in I was a media guest a couple times in Chris Kerber's the KMO Xbox with Chris Kerber, but other than that, no, I was not a media member.
Mike also followed that up with also Vladimir Chepeturkin. Right. I'm pretty sure he was getting the Jeff Ponder segments out of the way, so I thanked him for it.
I appreciate that. That's awesome. Jason Craig says Sanford is a huge loss. Future Hall of Famer. Yep, that's it's oozing with sarcasm, right? Mike Leon also says can't wait to retire 44. He's just filling in for Ponder tonight. Really, that's what he's doing. I appreciate that.
He is.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see. Brian Roberts says. Norris is the it's his turn trophy. Which is
it certainly was during that time frame.
Yeah, it really kind of was
in the late 90s.
He also said that's the argument the managing group of T-Mobile Arena is they don't want a full-time tenant cause. They make more money doing concerts than they would if NBA or NHL came to Kansas City. Okay.
Right. That was to the point in that article about getting more concerts in because Blues are never going to draw that much.
Right. See, Mike Leon says, could Perunovich pass Scandella? I'd honestly see him probably passing Bortuzzo more than Scandella, even though I think that, which we'll talk about here in a little bit more about Perunovich, but I think obviously Bertuzzo. Well, I mean, Scandella can look bad at times, but he can look good.
Right.
I think the ceiling is higher with Scandella. He's got a bigger up and down than Bertuzzo does, I think. But really, I think if you take Bertuzzo off the defense, then it's not a tough defense. Parayko's big, but he's not tough. Bertuzzo is the only muscle on the back end, right? So I don't know. I mean, I talent wise, he's probably already passed him and Bertuzzo, but experience, size, Perunovich is he's small.
Coaching preference,
and Perunovich is also underweight a little bit. He's not as heavy as he probably will be in a year or two. He's probably needs to gain a little weight, because if you're gonna be small, you can't be light either. You can't be pushed around pretty easy.
I don't know. I mean, I think, like I responded to Mike in the chat and said, that I think that he probably threatens Scandella the most. And I'd like, if he's got the talent to stay up here, I'd like him to be up here and learn from another fairly undersized left-hand defenseman in Torrey Krug. I think that could be great for his development.
I've always been,
but at the same time, I think after having come off injury and not really played serious hockey, give him some time in the A. Let him get his game going again.
He missed a whole season, the entire season, almost the entire season last year. Mm-hmm. So with a shoulder injury.
Yep.
Shoulder. Yeah. So I mean, he's probably got to develop a little bit more, even though he's looked really well, looked really good so far. And I'm sure that him starting in the A would be probably what's going to happen, maybe, unless he just really impresses the rest of the way in preseason. But I would imagine that if Scandella or Bertuzzo kind of aren't pulling their weight up here, then you may see Perunovich up here a little sooner than they probably expected before preseason started. Let's see. Another in a long line. Mike Leon says Mike Leon's pretty active in the chat. Another in a long line of great discarding: Sanford, Laterra, Sobotka, and Berglund. Also, another in a long line of inadvertent signings too. Sanford, Laterra, Sobotka, and Berglund all had their last contracts here. We're probably like, what? Why are you doing that? 81, so opposite of 18. So Jimmy Holland says 81. I guess that's Neil's number, which makes sense.
Jimmy Holland gets first over Rodney Hale.
Yes, right, just barely, probably. Mike Lennon says, I want Dustin Paul on the third line. All right, everyone does. Everyone wants Dustin on the third line. Let's see. Zach Zweifel, first time, long time. I gotcha. Honest opinions on Jordan Binnington if he was a flash in the pan and his career flatlines. I think we've kind of touched on this stuff before, but I mean, I'm of the I liked the Binnington signing. If I thought he was a flash in the pan, I wouldn't have liked the signing. So I think the Blues had to sign him. Whether or not you think they're worth the money or not, I don't know. But I don't think he's a flash in the pan. I think he's a solid goaltender. I'm not going to expect him to play at the level he did when he first came up in 19. That's crazy. Very few goalies in the history of the game have played that way over that period of time. So that's weird to think he could do that again. But I do like him on this team. I think he's good enough to back another playoff run. So assuming the rest of the team, gets on board and can give him the support, I think he's a guy for that. I like him. So I'm all about it. But then again, Bill knows as well as anybody that goaltending in NHL can be so fickle from year to year as far as how a guy plays. So I mean, you never know what you're going to get.
Exactly the word I was going to use. Goaltending at this level is fickle. I mean, it's anybody can step up and have a great year. He did it for the right time for us. But I think he's he's still not somebody I would describe as being in the prime of his career. I think he's got a year or two left before we get to full maturity with him. He got engaged this summer, probably get married next summer, and maybe a year or two after that, the kids start arriving, and that tends to be when NHL people get considered mature.
Does he strike you as a father? I mean, he still seems kind of. I mean, he wasn't exactly a young rookie, right? So he was right. A few years older, but he was like 25 a couple years ago, was he not? So, yeah, I mean, he's not exactly a youngin anymore, but he doesn't strike me as the fatherly figure kind of guy. It's not yet.
No.
So
no, but the thing the thing about him is you have to love his arrogance. You have to love his fire. And I think if he learns to channel it, like last year, there were a couple times it felt a little bit forced, but he's also trying to be a leader, and I like that. He's more than one dimension.
Can we like prepare ourselves now for whenever it comes this season, when Binnington does something where he goes after a player or takes a swing at a player or says something to a player that's controversial or whatever, or to start something on the ice? Can we like prepare ourselves now? Because it's going to happen, right? At some point. And there's going to be this outrage because other fans hate Binnington, but they for their own reasons. I can, and from their perspective,
and I think most of them call him Bennington.
You're right. And from their perspective, he's an easy guy for an opposing team to hate. He really is. It's not. I mean, it's if he were on someone else's team, I'd probably dislike the guy too. But it's a great example of on your team, love him. Not on your team, don't like him. But we need to prepare ourselves now, because there's going to be a bunch of backlash. People are going to say, "Oh, Binnington's such a piece of shit," and it's going to happen. And I'm all here for it.
For sure.
Doug Armstrong signed a 5-year extension with the Blues. His current contract was due to expire after this season, but his new contract takes effect immediately, which is different than how players' contracts work, which is why when I first saw it, I thought, man, his contract doesn't expire until after the season, and it's 5 years. So that's 6 more years of Doug Armstrong, but no, his current contract takes place right now, which I assume means he gets a raise. And that raise goes into effect immediately. Otherwise, why not just, if it's the same money, why not sign a 4-year contract after this one's over, right? I don't know. So this deal kind of, I think, throws a wet blanket on the Chiarelli was brought in to replace Armstrong chatter to some degree, because, I mean, they brought him, I mean, he was already here anyway, scouting, but he has this new role now. So and I think people were kind of concerned because Armstrong, his deal expired after the season. They brought in a former GM at Boston and Edmonton they bumped him up in the organization. So I think, okay, Armstrong has got this job for 5 more years. A lot can happen between now and then as far as who's going to succeed Chiarelli. I think the 2 Guys 1 Cup podcast said on Twitter, they were I'm going to paraphrase what they said. They said something like, don't be naive. Chiarelli is a former GM within the organization who's won a cup, and he don't think that he's not going to be seriously considered to replace Armstrong in 5 years. And I was like, oh, I mean, yeah, I guess that's something you can talk about and think about, but my goodness, Armstrong just signed his 5-year contract. So I'm, as far as talking about his successor already, I mean, we can wait on that a couple of years at least. I mean, probably 3 or 4 years. My goodness.
Yeah, and all due respect to Stephen and company, there's a little bit of Chicken Little in them. Sky's falling. Bit of a negative reaction to stuff, but no, I don't think
they do that. I see it. Yeah.
I think that Chiarelli,
which makes them fun to talk to about stuff.
Absolutely,
absolutely.
It's you always get a counterpoint, right?
Sure.
And that's they're great. Mm-hmm. If we plug any other podcast on this show, it's got to be them.
Love strong opinions. Yeah, and then just to discuss them like like adults. That's fun.
Right. And yeah, so with Chiarelli, I think that you have I think it's more about probably Dave Taylor moving on to another role and needing another strong person there in the room, especially going into a year where Armstrong's, he's going to be GM of Team Canada at the Olympics. And you got to have somebody with their eyes full time on the franchise. And I think the timing is right for that. Like you said, Chiarelli's been here as a scout, and he's had strong ties. He's got experience, and as long as he doesn't have the nuclear codes, I think we're all good.
Yeah, that's true, and it's the timing of it all. Like you said, the Armstrong is the GM of Team Canada this year, so he has other responsibilities that will take up his time. And so the timing of moving Chiarelli to the new position to assist Armstrong makes complete sense in that regard, that he'll be here to assist and take care of some things and help Armstrong when he's going to be busier than normal. So I think that is a much more realistic explanation of his promotion, I guess you would say, than anything else right now. Then especially looking 5 years down the road, that's a long way down. A lot of stuff can happen, player personnel wise. A team could be sold. Who knows? You just don't know in 5 years. Armstrong also specifically said that he likes guys with experience to surround him in the organization. So that's what Chiarelli is. That's what Hitch is. That's why Hitch is got his promotion. He was with the club already too, advising coaches already. So it's just
I still can't accept that. But
I hearing that he has been doing that already for a couple of years, and then essentially just giving him a title and probably a paycheck or whatever. I think I see no problem with that necessarily. I don't care. But we'll see. We'll see what happens if the team struggles out of the gate, and after 20 games, if they're under 500 and all this stuff, and not playing well, not getting production, whatever, and all of a sudden you're going to have people wanting to, hey, well, Hitch is here. It's like, no, I don't think so. I don't think so.
No, thank you.
We mentioned Center Ice. We're kind of late for a break with Center Ice, so I think we did mention earlier the ID Life Hydrate, taking it to Center Ice and having a nice evening out without having the headaches the next morning. So here's a word from Center Ice Brewery. Center Ice Brewery is St. Louis's only hockey-themed brewhouse. Stop on in during the next game to experience the ultimate hockey fan brewery while sampling various hockey-inspired beers, such as Old Arena Lager, the Beauty IPA, the Rotating Pale Ale Series, or seasonal offerings such as their Imperial Stout, their Lime Sherbet Sour, and much more. While you're there enjoying any number of their fantastic beverages, you can admire the bar top and tables made of authentic arena wood and the actual penalty box door from the old barn. Located at 3126 Olive Street in Midtown St. Louis, it's one of the best places to watch a Blues game, or any game. Visit CenterIceBrewery.com today to schedule a no-contact curbside pickup or make a reservation in the tap room. Center Ice Brewery. Let's go Blues. Please drink responsibly. A couple of things in the YouTube chat. We got Brian Roberts said that Bennington and Berube, they are my worries for the year. And honestly, I think unless you've got a future Hall of Fame goaltender who's proven to just bring it year in and year out, I think you could make an argument saying goaltending is always like in the back, at least in the back of your head, a question mark. I mean, oh my gosh, I hope he plays well this year, because he looked good last year, but year before that he wasn't so hot. But what version of our goaltender are we going to get this season? I think a lot of teams can say that about a lot of players. So and Bennington is no different. Berube,
right?
Yeah, go ahead, Bill.
I was just going to say, I mean, if you want to talk about worries and in goal, our division, it's all new goaltending this year. Like Bennington is kind of the established guy, which is bizarre to say, but Colorado brought in Darcy Kemper, right? And in Chicago brought in Fleury. UC Saros has been there in Nashville, but he's now going to be the number one and hasn't really impressed me all that much.
Right.
Braden Holtby and Hudobin and Bishop are, I don't know if Bishop, what his health status is, but
that changes from on a weekly basis.
Right. But yeah, I mean, more uncertainty in Dallas around their goaltending. Minnesota, they've got Cam Talbot, who had a pretty decent year last year. And then, Hellebuck, I guess, is actually the guy, right? He is probably Vezina Trophy leader out the gate. But Bennington's kind of the second tenured guy at this point. Fleury's, potential Hall of Famer, but on a Chicago team that's in a rebuild, made some decent moves. Goaltending in the Central is not solid. Right? It's not. You don't know what you're going to get this year.
And I agree completely. And I think that just goes back to what I said about how so many goaltenders it's a fickle thing, and you never know what version of that goalie you're going to get for large chunks of the season. So, but yeah, I like you said, Brian. It's Bennington is obviously. He's going to continue to be a question mark unless he puts together 2, 3, 4 seasons in a row where he's like, okay, he's a top 15 goalie in the NHL, and that's the kind of guy he is, right? You don't want him to regret. He's got. I think where people's concern is with him is the fact that he's gone a number of games now without winning in the playoffs. That is, and anyone who watched the playoffs last season, he was unbelievable most of that series. I don't think. If you're just looking at the box score and you just see the wins and losses and you think, oh, he hasn't won in the playoffs in a while, he must be struggling. Wasn't the case at all. He was really good last season in the playoffs. So I think anytime you hear somebody say, well, he's got this winless streak in the playoffs now, that means nothing. Team game, guys. The team lost that series. It wasn't Bennington at all. He was one of the few really bright spots for the Blues. So
right. And some of those games got a little lopsided at the end, but
again, not his fault.
He stood on his head. He was great. We couldn't withstand the firepower that Colorado had, and it was a rough go for the entire team. In terms of my concerns, I would actually have Parayko's health above Bennington. But that's I think this era, defense and goaltending, it's all a team function, right? It's you don't have franchise goalies, right? You don't. Maybe Carey Price is the last one left. Vasilevsky's doing pretty damn good in Tampa, I'd say.
DiPietro is still getting paid, isn't he? Or is it that end last year?
It's over.
Last year, was it last year?
Yeah. Now he's going to join ESPN for coverage this year.
So he was like your ultimate franchise goalie. He just wasn't playing. Oh my god, so funny.
Yeah, but yeah, Berube. All joking aside, if Berube's not going to be the guy, if the team struggles, they've kind of built it in with Jim Montgomery, right? They swooped in and got a guy that was they bought low on him. Yeah, and if he's won his battle with the bottle, I'd say he's the guy to take over if the team struggles.
I think that's
he's going to be on the bench this year, right? That's last year. He's been in the entire year in the press box. He's on the bench. He's the threat to Berube.
Wasn't that a thing where he didn't want to get too close to the players because isn't baldness like a pre-existing condition for COVID? Maybe not. I was making that up. But no, it's a great point. With that, with him being there, it's and Berube struggles. How long do you stick with Berube? I think you stick with him for a while, but in the end, it all depends on how bad. If the team's playing poorly, how bad they're playing. I mean, if it's 6-0, like when it was the last game you coached was a 6-0 loss, something like that. That was bad. So
against the Kings.
Yeah, if they're looking like
it was they got shut out by Cal Peterson, who at the time was like, who? But
right. Yeah, he's developed into a nice goalie. Yeah,
right. He chased Jonathan Quick out of town. So that's pretty tough to do. But yeah, at the time, come on.
I know. It's like the team just was not. It's so interesting because how the team played then and how bad they looked, and I mean, Berube didn't get results right away. I mean, he had some losses right off the bat too. It wasn't like a lot of times you'll see like a new coach, the team it's like a shot of energy, and they'll play really well for a short time and then kind of regress. Blues are the opposite. They didn't get on board for a handful of games, and they kind of just ramped it up about the same time Bennington came on board too. So a number of things, I guess. Perunovich, which we talked about a little bit earlier, he's impressing in camp. There's a lot of talk about him and how impressive he's looked in Traverse City, right? And how well he played. And should we pump the brakes on him a bit? Because people are saying that they should put him in the lineup. He should make the team. In Traverse, he was playing against prospects, right? He's not playing against NHLers. So a guy who looks good, that's great. It's a good sign. But he's not playing against NHLers. That doesn't mean he's NHL ready necessarily. I think Stephen Ground from the Two Guys One Cup wrote an article about in the hockeywriters.com. He writes for them. And he was basically said that he wanted to see Perunovich make the team out of camp. And I think that was largely based on what he saw in Traverse. So I'd love to see that work out to where a young, skilled defenseman could play well enough. Because if he's playing well enough to make the team and makes it, he would make a difference up here. He's a very skilled defenseman, puck mover, offensive minded guy. So I think that would be a nice deal. But I'm kind of like leery of this because I haven't seen him play against a lot against NHL competition. So I think I'm of a pump the brakes on the kid a little bit until he gets a little more time here in preseason, and to see what he can do against actual NHL talent. Because it's a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, we touched on it a little bit earlier, but I think if he can, if he can play the way that he did in Traverse against NHL caliber players, he should get that. He has a couple more preseason games. I mean, seeing some of the highlights coming out of the Dallas game, he had a nice couple of nice setups. That the setup on
Bushnevich's goal,
and on Bushnevich's goal,
Yep.
that was awesome to see. Looked like a natural power play quarterback, which that we haven't. We need somebody from the left side to do that. We're so used to it being Petrangelo and then Falk. But yeah, that would be great to see. And he is such a fluid skater. But yeah, I think you have to measure him against the NHL talent, like you said, and a couple more preseason games when more NHL caliber players are getting into the lineup should be a good measure.
Yeah, agreed. Next up for the Blues, we've got Friday, October 1st. So in a couple days, they're in Chicago, 7:30 p.m. start. And I believe that game is on ESPN Plus. And then Saturday, at least that's what was scheduled. I signed up for it today. I always get the NHL. I got NHL TV in the past and Sunrise before that, but I did the ESPN Plus thing this year. Did you get the entire package, Disney Plus and Hulu and all that stuff?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
I did.
I have that as part of my cell phone package.
Okay, I'm already on my sister-in-law's Disney Plus because you can share that with a number of people. So I'm on that, and I don't watch a lot of Hulu, so I'm like, I'll give this a go and see how it is.
But that's where the letter Kenny is.
Yeah, I know, but I know.
And What We Do in the Shadows and Archer,
right?
And all the shows that we should be watching.
I hate how things are so fragmented now. I liked it back in my day, when Netflix had everything. You subscribe to Netflix and you had everything streaming that was out there. And now everyone's got their own thing. There's Paramount, there's Disney, there's Discovery, there's Hulu, there's all kinds of YouTube, Sling. There's just tons. And I'm like, geez. So every production company has their own.
Sling, I have subscriptions to everything you just mentioned. So,
see, yeah, I mean, it's almost like people cut the cord so they can go streaming and save a lot of money. That's great, but now everything's like Netflix, for example, used to have all of Sony's stuff and all of Disney's stuff and all of this, at least a chunk of it. But now they're all taking their content back and starting those streaming services, and it's almost like every provider is like a channel now, and you're essentially got to sign up for these and pay for each channel, which is kind of what people wanted, right? People wanted a la carte cable TV. Like, I want to just pay for this station, pay for that station. So it's kind of what we're going towards, I guess. But I don't know. It's weird to have 5 or 6 different subscriptions for streaming when, man, be easier if it was just on one. Just consolidate. Quit taking your stuff back. Go one. Like Hulu for a while was a bunch of them. It was NBC. It was all kinds of different television programming. The good old days. And then Saturday, the Blues play October 2nd versus Chicago in Independence, Missouri. Jimmy Holland says, I haven't read this. I have not pre-read this. I just saw it pop up. I'm going to read it. I hope it's good. Jimmy Holland in the YouTube chat says, I feel like another trade is coming. Doesn't have to be Vladdy, but we didn't trade for Brown to risk losing him on waivers. That's true. Oh, that's because depending what we do with Brown, if Brown doesn't make the club, he has to go through waivers. So that'll be interesting. Neil is making a strong case. Costin, McEachern. I'm glad you spelled it McEachern, not McEachern. Clifford on waivers. Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting about Brown with waivers. I wonder what the market is from out there.
Yeah, no, I think he gets taken. I mean, if you're going to expose somebody, I know Kyle Clifford filled in a few times, but I have not seen anything of the preseason. I haven't gone to any of the camps, anything like that. But my money would be on Clifford to be the odd man out.
Okay, if Brown is taken, the team that takes him has to put him on their 23-man roster. They can't send him down. So, I mean, they can put him on the roster. They have to put him on the, but they can send him down, but they have to put him on the roster first. And if they send him down, he has to clear waivers again. So the only thing that's saving Brown from being taken, I guess, is the fact that he'd have to make the 23-man roster for another team. So that's right. That's the hitch.
Right. In the last couple of years, the season starting waiver wire, a lot of names passed through that. That you thought should be taken. So maybe it's a risk worth taking. But I think I don't know. I honestly I think James Neal's best bet is to make a great impression and then get a contract elsewhere.
I agree.
He's proving he's still got something in the tank, and he doesn't have to have Connor McDavid feeding him. I think he can get a contract somewhere else, maybe Ottawa.
And I think I don't think Brown. I don't see Brown making this team out of camp, the 23-man roster. I think they put him through waivers. And I think, like you said, with all the other people that are going through waivers at the same time, he's not going to be high on the list to be taken. There are going to be people who are more desirable. If a team is interested in picking a player up off of waivers, there's going to be players that are more desirable, I guess you'd say. I would think. Because that's the way it usually works. You try and slip them under the radar, if you will, along with a bunch of other players. So your guy's not taken. Rapid fire tidbits from the NHL. Darren Dreger said it's very likely you'll see women officiating in the AHL at some point this season. And I was curious to see the response. That was a Twitter post by Darren Dreger. And I briefly perused the list of responses, and very positive. Very like, it's about time. NBA's got them. You guys are behind the game. So I was like, oh, it's very, man, it sounds like your dog. I'm not sure which one did the shake there, but it sounds like he's wearing like a whole chain link fence around his neck. It's loud.
Brand new collar.
That explains it. The Ukrainian Hockey League. This made a lot of waves and is disgusting. The Ukrainian Hockey League has suspended. I'm gonna butcher this. Do you know how to pronounce these, Bill? You're a soccer guy. You know this stuff.
Yeah. Samir not going to work here anymore.
Has suspended HC Kremenchuk forward Andrei Deniskin for 3 games plus 10 more, so 13, for making a racist gesture at defenseman Jalen Schmerich of HC. And every time I see this, I think of HC Donbass in a game last Sunday. For those of you who haven't seen it, and you don't mind looking at racist gestures, I don't know. Look it up. It's all over the internet. In the second period of their game, Deniskin shouted at Schmerich, who is black, and then pantomimed unpeeling a banana and eating it. He was ejected from the game, and both the UHL and the International Ice Hockey Federation began a disciplinary process. Schmerich, 24, is a Detroit native, took a leave of absence from his team and said, "I will not play another game in the UHL until Andrei Deniskin is suspended and removed from the league." In addition to the suspension, he was fined $1,870. So I have never in my life seen a racist gesture like this. This is the most offensive thing I've seen. I've heard things said, right? But never like a gesture like this, I don't think. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that trumps this one. This was disgusting. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. Awful.
Yeah. Racism in European sports, soccer, it's a problem. But to see it on the ice is shocking. And the thing that really gets me about this also, with the suspension, he can pay off the suspension and play. He can buy those games back.
No, that was a mistweet. Was
it?
It was corrected. That's what I understand. It was corrected, and he has to be suspended the 13 games. In addition to, he's fined. Initially it was said
his fine of $1,800.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Initially they said that he was suspended 3 games, and he could pay $1,870 to not be suspended 10 more. But then it came out as a correction. It was a typo. There was a huge amount of backlash over the amount of the suspension because it was initially reported it was just 3 games, and people were pissed. And I wonder if it was just them saying, "Oh no, yeah, it was a typo," after seeing the backlash of how light the penalty was. So that's what I heard. Then it was from a verified account. I didn't write it down who it was, but it was the league said they corrected the issue and they said it's 13 games. He does because I think Puck Daddy tweeted out wrote a story on it and said that he could buy out the last 10 games, but that I think there's misinformation in that article because they corrected the tweet. Unless that corrected tweet's wrong, so I'm going by that. So
I saw something that House from Kadri actually tweeted, but it was 10 hours old, so it may be wrong.
Okay,
and Nassim Kadri's not a source on, a deep source on the Ukrainian Hockey League. So,
but he is a hockey player, so you would think he would know. I'll look it up here real quick if we got a second. You guys have been at least 3 games. That was 11 hours ago, 4 hours ago. Unsaid what could be a 3-game. That was just 4 hours ago. The Star, ESPN. That was 14 hours ago, and that was by, I believe, Puck Daddy. Yeah, Greg Wyshynski. Yeah, and this was today. It was this morning, 8 a.m. He said that according to the UHL, Deniskin must serve the 3 games. However, he can avoid sitting out the additional 10 games if he pays a fine that's equivalent to $1,870. But I heard after that was incorrect, that it was a mistweet. So if I go 4 hours ago, this article is 4 hours ago. This one says it could be a 4 hours, a 3-game suspension too. Maybe that's accurate. Okay, conflicting reports here. I don't know. I'll look into it some more. I've seen both things. Rod Brindamore was asked if anything stood out to him during the game that might have flown under the radar. This is a preseason game, right? He goes, I mean, it's a preseason game. I'm kind of happy it's over. And I'm like, isn't that how we all feel about preseason games? I mean, mostly, right? I mean, I love seeing hockey and all, but let's get the season started.
Yeah. That when you're a season ticket holder with other people and you go to the draft, you're like, yeah, I'm willing to go all the preseason games. And you'd almost trade them for like a second pick rather than trying to force a first pick on somebody. But we couldn't get anybody to take ours.
Brian Roberts said, I also read that the longest you can be suspended in that league, which is the Ukrainian Hockey League, is 10 games. So I don't know if that's accurate or not. But I think we're done. We've blown through the topics for tonight, Bill. You have anything you want to add to this big show?
No. No ponder. Hour and 15-minute show.
There we go.
Coincidence?
I think not. I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to talk to him about that next week. We'll see how long next week's show is. 3.5 hours. Got to make up the difference.
Just kidding, Jeff. We love you.
Absolutely.
How'd your game go tonight, by the way?
Oh, Ponder's game? Oh,
sorry.
Yeah. He had a game tonight. His on assignment was on a game, and it got canceled. I think somebody shit all over the ice or something. What happened? Something leaked on the ice?
Yeah, something leaked. Thought it was pepper spray.
Pepper spray. What? There's a story there somewhere.
Yeah.
Man. How does pepper spray leak? How does enough pepper spray leak onto the ice to ruin? Maybe it's just that you couldn't go out there without getting your eyes burned. I don't know. Or does it actually ruin the ice? It might melt the ice. Pepper spray.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, support for Let's Go Blues Radio is brought to you in part by ID Life, the world's only truly personalized vitamin platform based on a health assessment of your DNA. Visit rockinthatidlife.com for more information. That's rockinthatidlife.com and get 10% off by texting Dustin at 636-393-8745 and tell him Let's Go Blues Radio sent you. And by Center Ice Brewery, St. Louis's hockey-themed brewery. Visit centericebrewery.com today to schedule a no-contact curbside pickup or to make a reservation in their tap room located at 3126 Olive Street in Midtown St. Louis. It's one of the best places to watch a Blues game. That's centericebrewery.com. Please drink responsibly. And I know you folks listening to this, and some of you probably hear the ads and the sponsors and stuff and say, okay, I hear it, but you don't go there. Go there right now. Go there right now. Put it in your browser. Go there. Check it out. Just look at it. Just do me a favor. Just look at it. That'll wrap up episode 10 of just do it. Episode 10 of season 3 of the original St. Louis Blues Hockey Podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Thanks for listening, and thanks to those who participated in the YouTube and Facebook live chats during the live show. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. For the Missing in Action, Jeff Ponder and Bill Day, I'm Kurt Price. Until next time, everyone, let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
It's very feminine.
Winter Classic tickets on sale right now.
That's right. We did not cover that. Go buy some and visit our sponsors. Do both.